So my next question is, as a female athletic trainer, PATS president in the past, did you face any challenges that you think were unique to being a female, whether clinically or in the presidential role, as a leader, etc.?
Well, I had an unexpected challenge, and that was I was president-elect for 2 years, 88 to 90, and trying to start a family, and ended up adopting, and so I got a phone call on January 3rd, 1990, that my daughter was born, and that just sent my whole life into a little bit of a tailspin, a wonderful tailspin, and upward spin, but, so I'm still juggling. Well, I stopped working for the time and being a mom and still working with PATS, and so that was a challenge. That's why my memory is a little sketchy.
Not a lot of sleep deprived.
Yeah.
And I think for me, I never felt that being a woman was any different on the board itself, because everybody got in there and just spoke their minds. But I actually was older, and I found my husband, and we got married, and I inherited, his first wife had passed, so I inherited 3 children, 2 cats, and a house, and trying to finish my dissertation all at the same time during my parliamentarian to president-elect to president time. So it was a life-changing time, but it all seemed to work, and my husband is very supportive of what we do, so that makes it easier.
Yeah, absolutely. For me, I guess it was just working at a Division III level where, the limited resources for athletic trainers and trying to work in the trenches, so-called, and still be the past president. So I think I didn't see any challenges working with the men in the group. I don't think any of us did. I think they all accepted us very well, but it was really the balance of the job. And then I have a family as well. I have a young daughter at the time, so we're trying to balance all that along with being the president.
And I would reiterate what they said. I didn't have any challenges, or I didn't notice anything from a athletic training or board perspective. One thing I think I did notice, if I think about it, is when we'd go to Harrisburg and we were meeting with legislators, and I was sitting in a room with a gentleman, whatever gentleman that was, there was often conversation here, and then it would get redirected back to me. Like, I can think of a specific time where it was John and I in the room talking to an individual, and the gentleman made a comment, and John said, well, actually, Yvette is the current president. So John brought it back to me. But within athletic training, I didn't really notice any issues.
I was just thinking about, as we're all talking, sometimes you encounter, the good old boys network. But I've never felt that in our athletic training circle, in PATS. I never felt it. Yeah, it is great.
So another follow-up question to that, did you have specifically other females in the profession that you saw as mentors or role models that were significant in your involvement in PATS and in the profession? Yeah, there we go.
Well,
Absolutely.
Lois Wagner, she was preceded me as far as she was an instructor, mentor, and always was involved in coming to meetings and modeled that. I got involved actually because of John Thatcher, and he got me involved. Other women, you ladies, whatever ladies were at the meetings.
Yeah, there weren't many at the time.
No.
But even for me, I think that Cecile, having broken that, whatever perception it was, made it easier for me. But there was a time that I was the only woman on the board. I had Ellen Blamek at the time, but Ellen Blamek West as my secretary for a short period. But it was me and the boys for the board meetings oftentimes. But it really didn't change what we did.
I had other women on the board with me at the time, but I did really look to Paula as being the president prior to me, and to look to her for guidance for different issues. I called her many different times on things just to ask for her advice. So I'd say Paula probably be my biggest role model in that. that aspect.
And I would say one of mine sitting right here, and the other one, Linda Platt-Meyer, who was on the board when this one asked me to become parliamentarian. So it was kind of just a natural flow because Julie was on, Linda was on, they knew the issues going on the board, they knew the inner workings, so it was very easy to call and get some advice, you know, and Julie's the calming type thing, pick your battles, figure out which ones you want to confront, and Linda's more the like, you can do anything you want to do, you got it, you're gotta go, you know, so she's the one pushing you a little bit, so I think that was neat. But there were other people too, like I think Tanya Miller. She's not necessarily a mentor, but she's a strong woman who does very, very great work with her and her Committee of Governmental Affairs. So I'm comfortable reaching out to her and talking to her about different things.
So one other question I have. So 40 years, 4 women presidents. What's up with that?
Exactly. We need more?
We do. Well, actually, this was a big topic a couple years back at the business meeting, and it's hard for women who have families, or even for that matter for their husbands, to understand what it is that they're doing. It's still, as much as we'd like to think things have really totally evolved, there is an expectation when you're the wife that you have other obligations, and sometimes they will take precedence over your professional life. It's the balancing act, and I think that actually we've all done it, and we've learned to balance, and I think time management and trust in our spouse and trust in our families that they'll either get it or they'll get it later. Well, and I'll go off that. Spouses are key. You know,
absolutely.
You have to have a strong spouse to be able to support what you can't do or what you need, or if you just need to come home and vent, or you know, you need that neutral person to bounce ideas off of, who they don't know who the different people are, you know, and you get that totally neutral perspective of how to deal with things. So I wouldn't have been able to do it without my husband.
I couldn't. Absolutely. You're exactly right.
No, it's hard enough, the profession of athletic training for a woman who wants, you know, that has a family, who wants a family, and juggling that, and then you put on top of it, you know, running for office and all the meetings and time that a board entails, you know, that's a whole nother level of commitment and taking you away. So it is a juggling. You know, manage it.
I hope more women really will come forward and
They have to trust that there's more,
Yes.
that the time management that they do every day in their job makes being active at committee level, board level, whatever, and in PATS really possible. You're not doing any of these jobs by yourself. And if they would just realize that, I think we probably would get more people to step up. And also with a number of committee chairs now, if you look at them, are females. So we're bringing females in as committee members and committee chairs, so the natural progression is that they would run for an office, maybe not president, but just another office. So we're, I don't want to say, I guess, grooming them, maybe,
Right.
Bringing them in a little
Mentoring.
younger. Yeah.
So are there any other stories, funny stories, fun stories that you'd like to share? Anything else that you'd like to share? And it, you know, about being a president, about your time with PATS, anything?
I don't know about funny, but I'll say, and I'm going to touch on this a little bit at the banquet tonight, you always know, no matter where you are or what situation you're in, you can reach out to anybody, whether they're a current board member, a past board member, just a member, not with a title. It's a very inclusive group of people. So it goes back to what Paula says, you're never alone if you just go and ask. You know, and that's a great feeling to have.
everybody has your back.
Yep.
Everybody has your back.